We have been demonizing marijuana for so long, but we are hearing that it can have medicinal benefits, Senator Bobby Singleton told committee members in Alabama. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live show. In a somewhat surprising move, a comprehensive medical marijuana bill passed in an Alabama Senate committee on Wednesday. The Senate Judiciary Committee gave Senator Bobby Singleton's bill a favorable report on a 4-3 vote after little debate. The Medical Marijuana Patient Safe Access Act can now be considered on the Senate floor. Senate leadership could, however, refuse to put the bill on a calendar so it can be debated and voted on by the full body. A standing room only crowd filled the committee room, hoping to participate in a public hearing on the bill. That hearing, however, was taken off the committee agenda prior to the meeting. Jeremy, one of those medical marijuana supporters who didn't want his last name used, said he is happy the committee passed the bill. He has considered moving out of state in order to purchase medical marijuana for treatment for his cerebral palsy. He said traditional prescription drugs don't work for him. Quote, "I have been more than 10 years sober waiting for something like this," Jeremy said. Republicans have a supermajority in the Alabama legislature, but the medical marijuana bill managed to pass today with a Democratic majority. The favorable report was likely achieved because Republican Senators Arthur Orr, Greg Reed, and Tom Whatley didn't attend the meeting. Senator Greg Arbitron and a Republican abstained. Democratic Senators Linda Coleman, Vivian Figures, Roger Smith-Thurman, and Singleton voted in favor. Republican Senators Cam Ward, who serve as committee chairman, Phil Williams, and Larry Stutz voted against. Singleton, Democrat Greensboro, said he lobbied hard to get the committee to approve the bill. He said he will continue to work hard to get lawmakers to put the bill on the calendar and heard on the Senate floor. Let me just pause right here just to make a point of order. You heard that these Republican senators were not in attendance, which means that their position isn't even counted. I guarantee you they didn't want to be there to actually make a vote as a political scheme to get the bill to pass. I just want you to keep that in mind. To do that, though, Singleton admitted he is considering substituting the current bill for a constitutional amendment, which would require a public election. Singleton thinks Republican lawmakers will be more likely to pass the legislation if it leaves the decision ultimately up to the voting public. Ron Crupton, a medical marijuana advocate who drafted the legislation, said he is as happy as can be about today's approval. Quote, we would be anywhere on it if it wasn't for Senator Singleton, he said. That's how laws are done. I keep saying that black people need to get involved in government. Here is a medical marijuana advocate, and he actually wrote the bill that the senators are voting on. That's how politics works. I keep trying to put that forward to the black population. Is, well, what can we do? We have no power. Yes, you have power. You can actually draft a bill yourself for whatever you want, and then get it to the legislature and have them vote on it. This is the first time Singleton has carried the bill, and the first time members of the Senate has been able to consider a medical marijuana bill. Previous legislation sponsored by Representative Patricia Todd, Democrat of Birmingham, failed to make it out of the House Judicial Committee. This year's legislation would allow for patients who suffer from 25 specific conditions to purchase a maximum of 10 ounces of marijuana per month from a dispensary. Marijuana would be taxed at 2.5%. That sales tax revenue would go to sheriff or police departments to combat drug trafficking. That's so stupid. But that's politics, right? The sales tax should not go to the police department. The sales tax should go to help further medical people, anybody on state Medicaid. State Medicaid it's underfunded across the nation, but they're playing politics. What they want to do is they want to get this bill into lawmakers' hands, and so Republicans or Democrats can say, oh, if I vote against it, then the police will be against me, so I better vote for it. It's just so, I mean, there is no altruism in politics. Altruism meaning doing good for goodness sake. Certain patients would also be allowed to grow up to 16 plants of marijuana under the legislation. Physicians would be required to perform a full examination on a patient before issuing a prescription card for medical marijuana, Singleton said. They would face penalties if they don't, he said. Prescription card would cost $100 and the state would recognize cards from other states. Quote, we have been demonizing marijuana for so long, but we are hearing that it can have medicinal benefits, Singleton told committee members. We have people in the audience in chronic pain who find this one of the better treatments for them, he said later in a medical marijuana. Senator Phil Williams, Republican Gadsden, said he couldn't support a marijuana bill because he has seen the impact of drug abuse. Teenagers he has worked with use marijuana as a gateway drug. Such a blatant lie, awful lie. I mean, it's just, who you have to look at who's funding him to make such statements. Probably pharmaceutical companies. Singleton said he understands the concerns that Williams and other lawmakers may have about the bill. He said medical marijuana is for the treatment of certain chronic conditions. These are safeguards in place to keep it out of the hands of children. Children aren't a part of marijuana. Come on now. I'm sorry, I'm sick. I sound terrible. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.